Black Butterflies. Low on inspiration for his second book, a gloomy novelist agrees to write a memoir for a dying man and swiftly becomes part of his blood-stained past. This French drama and suspense miniseries of 6 episodes has a story that we found it to be quite unique and interesting from the beginning. As the story unfolds, it becomes even more interesting, intriguing, creepy, and full of surprises that ends up showing to the viewer what could be called the dark side of the human psyche intermingled with a twisted or even sickly sense of love like the one felt by the two characters, Albert and Solange, for each other. Twisted because this love makes them do terrible things. It actually makes you reflect on that question we sometimes ask ourselves. What would you be willing to do for love? As for the production elements, such as the cinematography, costumes, soundtrack, among others, these are all good, as are the performances of the entire cast, that enhance even more this good production. To this good and entertaining miniseries, we give it 3 stars out of 5. Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. Bizarre nightmares unfold in 8 tales of terror in this visually stunning, spine-tingling horror collection curated by Guillermo del Toro. This 8 episodes drama, mystery and horror series created by Guillermo del Toro, who acts as host and presenter of each of the individual stories showcased 1 per episode, is interesting with good and original plots full of mystery, intrigue, drama and suspense that are both exciting and terrifying. There are some stories that, to be honest, are somewhat weak in their argument, but in the end, they are entertaining enough to watch until the end. The production elements of the series in its entirety, such as the cinematography, set designs, costumes, makeup, soundtrack, special effects, among others, are all good, and some even very good, such as the special effects, but that depends on the story that is being presented. As for the performances of the entire cast, we found them to be all good in each of the episodes for being convincing and believable. We found this series scarily entertaining and it kept us interested, so we give it 3 stars out of 5. Holy Family. A family hiding a shocking secret starts over in Madrid, where new relationships complicate their plans and the past begins to catch up with them. This Spanish series of mystery and drama of 8 episodes has an interesting story full of intrigue, but somewhat complicated and messy at first, but as it unfolds, one appreciates more the essential elements of it that make this production an entertaining series to watch. There are somewhat dull and slow parts, but these are usually not too many and don't make you lose interest in continuing to watch it. In fact, this production has almost all the elements that Netflix wants its productions to contain, known as the Netflix algorithm, from biracial relationships to homosexuality. Whether this is something negative or not will depend on the taste of each viewer. The production elements are usually decent, as are the performances of the entire cast. This series kept us interested enough to watch it from start to finish, and that's why we give it 3 stars out of 5. We will see whether or not there will be a second season. We hope that Netflix will decide to renew it, as the last episode of this season ends with a cliffhanger that needs to be resolved. Missing the Other Side. A con artist encounters a supernatural village where spirits of missing persons are stranded until the mystery behind their disappearance is solved. This South Korean series of mystery, suspense, drama, and fantasy was originally broadcasted on television on August 29th, 2020 until October 11th, 2020 in South Korea and comprises 12 episodes, being re-released on Netflix this past October 2022. This production has a story that is very interesting, intriguing, original in its own way, different with a good dose of suspense, but, in our opinion, with a somewhat exaggerated level of drama in some episodes, since the characters seem to cry all the time, and if the viewer considers himself or herself to be a sensitive person, more than likely will end up crying with them or at least on the verge of tears. This aspect is not in itself negative and is common in South Korean productions where the dramatic element plays a very important role, but in our opinion there has to be an appropriate balance so that the story does not become uncomfortable to watch and loses seriousness. In the end, the series entertains you and keeps you hooked during the 12 episodes, and that's what matters. The production elements and performances of the entire cast are usually decent, further enhancing this production. We give this entertaining series 3 stars out of 5. According to what we have read, a second season is to be released in the remainder of 2022 or in 2023. The Midnight Club. Inside a hospice for terminally ill teens, members of an exclusive club make a chilling pact. The first to die must send a sign from beyond the grave. This 10 episodes mystery drama series features a story that we found it to be interesting and kept us hooked from the start. Each episode covers in a particular emotional and dramatic way the story of each of the characters who face life every day, having to deal with their physical, emotional, and spiritual condition by briefly facing the possibility of dying at any time due to the terminal illness that each one has. Each episode presents different stories told by a different character every time the group of teenagers meets at midnight in their exclusive club. And these stories are not only interesting and intriguing, but some of them even scare you, that make this production an entertaining series to watch. The production elements, such as the set designs, makeup, among others, are all good, as are the performances of the entire cast. We give this good series 3 stars out of 5. It is not yet known if Netflix will renew this series or not for a second season. We hope they will. The Watcher. Ominous letters, strange neighbors, sinister threats. A family moves into the suburban dream home only to discover they've inherited a nightmare. This miniseries of drama, mystery, and suspense of 7 episodes, inspired more than based on real events, has a story that from the beginning hooks you, since it makes you think about on what would you do if you were to find yourself in a similar situation as the one faced by the characters of the story. We say that this production is inspired rather than based on real events, since what really happened to the real family is totally different in many ways from what is shown in this miniseries. Obviously, the producers have taken what is called a literary license when writing the script of the story and have added situations that never happened, while adding elements of terror, of the supernatural, among others, to the story to make it more dark, mysterious, and arguably even more dramatic. We recommend that you read the many articles that describe and explain the experiences lived by the real family and compare for yourself what really happened with what is presented in this production. Even so, this mini-series sufficiently maintained our interest, although there are somewhat exaggerated and hard-to-believe parts that spoil the story a bit. The production elements as well as the performances of the entire cast are decent. In the end, this miniseries kept us entertained and is worth watching, so we give it 3 stars out of 5.